She be having the latest on this.
The latest with Lauren LaRosa.
Sometimes she have facts, sometimes she have details, sometimes she have a little bit of everything.
What was the latest?
On The Breakfast Club.
Talk to me.
Diddy's attorney, Nicole Westmoreland, she's one of the lead attorneys in his case, was on CNN late yesterday, and she was asked about the pardon with Trump. Let's take a listen to her on Diddy's pardon.
Have people in Sean Combs's orbit, have they had conversations with the Trump administration?
Yes, we've. It's my understanding that we've reached out and had conversations in reference to a pardon.
President Trump, when he was asked about this pardon, he said, quote, "I was very friendly with him. I got along with him great, and he seemed like a nice guy. I didn't know him well, but when I ran for office, he was very hostile." And the president indicated that a pardon is likely not on the table because of that break in his relationship with Mr. Combs years ago. How is he feeling now about the chances of a pardon given the president's commentary?
I think that Mr. Combs is a very hopeful person, and I believe that he remains hopeful.
Yeah, now they're really pushing, this narrative about whether the pardon will or will not happen. Now, I was poking around yesterday because what I'm trying to understand is, number one, if the pardon even happens, because of the way that the judge has been making sure Diddy is not coming home on bail until his sentencing, if the pardon even happens, what does that look like Diddy? What does that look like for Diddy once he's released? Like, what is Trump going to expect in exchange? Because Trump has been very vocal about the fact that he doesn't really care to do this, right? And yesterday in poking around, what I was told was that poking around, Diddy. What I was told was that a big part of the issue is the interviews that Diddy did leading up to this. One of the interviews in particular that I was told the administration has actually seen and brought up in conversation, in these conversations, is an interview that Diddy did with Charlemagne on Revolt TV.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so this was back in 2020. It was October of 2020 during the 2020 presidential election. And this was a few months after Diddy had said the whole hold your vote thing. Let's take a listen to Diddy on white men needing to be banished.
White men like Trump need to be banished. That way of thinking is real dangerous. This man literally threatened the lives of us and our families about going to vote.
Stand back and stand by.
Stand back and stand by.
Yeah.
We're in a war. We're not taking this like it's a war. We're taking this like, oh, we're in a presidential election. No, we're in a war of love versus hate. The number one priority is to get Trump out of office.
Oh yeah, he's not getting pardoned.
I mean, yeah, I can understand. I can understand why Trump wouldn't want to pardon him after hearing that.
Hold on, Charlamagne, I don't know if you remember this conversation. It gets worse. Let's take a listen to Diddy talking about a race war.
The tribe of people that have the responsibility and really should be scared to death of this man is white people.
Explain.
If this man is elected, we're not standing by no more getting killed. We're not scared of anybody standing up and standing by. We're on the verge of a race war. If people in America want a race war, they'll not vote.
Yeah. So, I mean,
yeah, he's not gonna get that pardon.
I
don't think I don't think it's a race war. I think it'll be a class war, if anything. I can see that happening, a battle between rich and the poor, because that's just what's going to happen when you're poor and you're trying to survive. When you're poor and you're trying to survive, you're going to eat the rich. That's just a common sense thing. That's why you should always take care of the least of you in a society.
Yes, I agree. Now, also, first of all, I just want to say, after listening to this, I was like, whoa.
No, he's not gonna get.
Those conversations, I don't know where they're going to end up. But they also talked to Nicole Westmoreland on CNN about the civil cases, because I think people are still forgetting that on the civil side, things are still happening. Let's take a listen to her on the civil cases.
He is still facing around 70 civil allegations from men, from women, from people who allege that they were minors at the time, across decades, with horrific accusations of being drugged, of being sexually assaulted. Each of those cases does have to play through the courts individually. So I understand that he denies them, But those are still active cases.
True, but let me say this to you. This is the federal government. All right, it doesn't really get any stronger than that. And so they obviously fully investigated Mr. Combs and obviously threw the book at him, right? And so if you think for a second, if the government really thought that there were minors out there hanging in the balance, if the government really thought that there was drugs in the baby oil or something of that nature, do you think the government just wouldn't have brought that up in a full-fledged criminal trial? Absolutely not, right? So that's not even logical. And so if the government if there was any real evidence of those allegations, we would have heard all about it in the criminal trial.
Yeah.
Question, Lauren. If they asking for a pardon already, that means they're expecting Diddy to get sentenced to prison time, right?
Yep. That is what basically, I mean, you have to, because even during the whole trial, they had appeal lawyers in the trial just watching and taking notes to prepare for an appeal before, and there were rumors that and I talked to some of the lawyers in court that were saying that Diddy's team allegedly was like already seeking forfeiture attorneys too. So I think you just prepare just in general.
Prepare for the worst.
Yes, but I do believe that, conversations, and I did try and figure out who's having what conversations, and they won't give me that, but I think, yes, to your point, that's what that means. I am not confident that the pardon will happen, and I'm starting to get I wasn't nervous for him at the sentencing. I thought it was going to be something. He wasn't going to walk, but like something small. But now, I don't know. I'm starting to feel a little bit differently.
I'm very nervous for him. I'm very nervous
What you nervous for him for?
I'm going to tell you why. Because I still believe that this is and I don't know, it just feels like they don't like him, and it feels like this is revenge, right? Because the charge that he's been charged with, there's people that's been charged with this before, and that they prove that's only gotten community service, that's only gotten a fine. It almost seems
you keep saying that, but you got to give me some examples. I've heard you say that a couple of times. You got to cite me some sources.
I've heard lawyers say it. I've watched.
I can tell, Charlamagne, I can send you the letter that the judge, when he recapped everything, he mentions cases. You could look up the cases and it'll give you the breakdown on when Diddy's team said, hey, these are different cases where these people didn't have to do half the things that Diddy is having to do waiting and sentencing. But Envy, the judge shot back. And I said this yesterday to the source I was talking to, the judge keeps leaning in on the fact that Jane and Cassie, the prosecutors, they presented information to show that they believe that these women were coerced, they were beaten, they were threatened, all these things. So that's where they're bringing in the violence. And
but even with the violence, he's not charged with the violence. Like him beating Cassie is one of the worst things I've ever seen. But he's not being charged with that. And it almost seems like what they did with OJ, right? OJ was found not guilty for murder, right? But he got 33 years for stealing his stuff back, and he said armed robbery, and OJ didn't even have a gun. But that's what it seems like. It seems like how OJ got 33 for stealing his stuff back, which seems crazy. It seems like they're going to try to do that with Diddy. Give him Diddy 20 years for something that people that's been charged with this got community service.
Well, I did ask, who specifically was having conversations with the administration, because I wanted to know how strong those conversations would be. And I was just told, because I was like, hey, is it just letters from his kids? Is it the actual defense team? Is it who is it? And I was told it's not letters from his kids. They said it's not his actual defense team, but they did say that there are high-powered attorneys that they've been told, to your point, Envy, that feel the same way you do, that have relationships with the administration, have been reaching out, having conversations, and doing things on their part. So there are people behind the scenes that do feel like how you feel, but I'm nervous.
It got to be law. It got to be fair. That's my whole thing. It has to be fair. It has to be based on what he's charged with. Now, if he was charged with beating Cassie, give him the effing book. Yeah. But if it's the things that he was found not guilty of RICO, found not guilty of those main charges, you got to be fair with that, correct? Because it could happen to anybody when it comes to the court of law, and everybody wants to be in law fair, right? They want to be in court fair.
I do agree that we want court to be fair, but if his remaining two charges are, what is it, 10 years for one charge and 10 years for the other charge for process, how is that not fair? That's the law. He beat the other charges. Like the other charges he beat. Like he got found not guilty on all those other things. So he's facing two charges right now of what, prostitution, right, Lauren?
The Mann Act stuff, yes, prostitution.
And it's 10 years apiece. So what is not fair about what he's facing right now?
No, it's not what's fair. It's like, for instance, right? If you drive with a DUI, you can get what? Let me see. I'm looking it up right now. You can get 5 years in prison. But I don't think that we know anybody that on their first charge with DUI and now nobody ever got hurt that got 5 years. They got community service and you get your license taken care of. But that one person that got DUI that got the book thrown at him, that just seems unfair when everybody else that got a DUI, and I'm just using it as an example, got community service. But that one person that you don't like got 5 years? Yeah, that's not fair.
Listen, once again, trouble is easy to get into and hard to get out of.
Right.
I don't know if fair is the right word. I don't know if we're using the right word.
And maybe
fair,
it's not fair,
it's
but
just like, yeah, I don't know if the word is fair, but this is what he's facing. He beat the other charges. Right, in a court of law.
Right.
And this is what he got found guilty of. So he's got to deal with what he got found guilty of.
All right. Well, that is the latest with Lauren. When we come back, we got front page news. And then actor Wendell Pierce will be joining us. You know him from The Wire. You know him from Suits and a host of others. And we'll kick it with him in a little bit. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning.
The Breakfast Club. Your morning.